only like 48 degrees outside. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're gonna be going over a 2021 Dodge Challenger Hellcat Redeye. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Dodge Ram Jeep Chrysler here in Sandy, Utah for giving me some time with this Hellcat. Check out the inventory link below. Let's get straight into the video. Under the hood of the Hellcat Redeye, we have a supercharged 6.2 liter V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 13 around town and then 22 on the highway, with power outputs being 797 horsepower and then 707 pound-feet of torque. I think it's hilarious. This has as much torque as the original Hellcat had in horsepower. But anyways, I love how you have the Redeye there at the top of the supercharger. I think that's a pretty cool little thing with it. But yeah, other than that, that's everything under the hood. Go over the front end. So first off, you have the dual snorkel hood, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. I just love the look of the venting. And then you've got your full LED lights with the projector bulbs, and then you got the SRT Hellcat logo right there, which it's interesting because that one doesn't have a Redeye on it, but it's whatever. You've got all the venting here on the rusty bottom, and you've got the gigantic front splitter, and other than that, that's the front end on the Hellcat Redeye. Now coming around the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 20-inch wheels in the front and the rear. And yes, this does have all-season tires on it, which is absolutely hilarious. Look at the size of the rotors there in the front, just crazy the size. I love the giant red brake calipers as well. Accents nicely to the particular paint color of this one. This one's finished in smoke show, which I think is a really good looking color here on the Hellcat Redeye. And then notice you've got the Redeye here with the Hellcat emblem there on the side. And other than that, here's your full side view, and I think this is definitely the best look on this particular car. We're not going to spend too much time back here, but yes, the Hellcat Redeye still has a normal Challenger trunk. It's really spacious for a muscle car, and yeah, there it is. Enjoy. If you guys are wondering, under this little tab right here, you've got your whole fix-a-flat kit system, and then you've got some speakers for the Harman Kardon sound system, all that kind of stuff, which I think is pretty cool. But anyways, we're done there. So yeah, now let's finish things up in the rear. So first off, you got the full LED lights, which I think look absolutely fantastic. Got the spoiler here with another Hellcat emblem, and again, it doesn't have a Redeye, which is kind of strange. But other than that, you've got parking sensors down below, and then you've got the wedge-shaped exhaust coverings for the tips. I like how they blacked them out. Definitely looks a lot better because it kind of melds in with the rest of the car. But other than that, that's the back end. Now let's go over the door panel here in the front of the Hellcat Redeye. So notice they've done the stitching here at the top, Alcantara here in the center portion, and then you've got leather and stitching on that little portion. We've got the window controls right here. You've got your mirror adjustments. This does come with memory seats. You've got a speaker for the Harman Kardon sound system. And then here are the seats in the front, which we'll go over in just a moment. We've got to pull the little seat belt loop out here, and I'll show you guys kind of what this is like to do with one hand. And then there's that latch on the back of the seat. Now here are the rear seats with the Challenger. You can actually fit people back here. Headroom is a little bit cramped, but you can fit. And then legroom's, again, a little bit cramped, but you can fit someone back here. An adult would be a short period of time. A kid would fit back there comfortably. And notice they did the really nice leather and Alcantara on the back seats. And so yeah. Now coming back to the front seats here, we've got all of the leather with the Alcantara in the center. And the leather is very, I mean, look at that, very, very soft to the touch. And these bolsters are really wide, so if you're a larger person, you'll fit in these seats comfortably. You've got your adjustments there on the side of the seat with the manual adjustment there on the back. Pedals look really nice. I definitely like the look of those. Got the light controls just up above. The steering wheel is automatically adjustable, and notice it's covered in Alcantara. And there's one more look before we pop in. Here's our steering wheel for the Hellcat Redeye. So we've got Alcantara wrapped around the whole steering wheel with the white stitching on the center, and then you've got the paddle shifters on the back. You've got the cruise control on this side, got controls for the center stack, and then you've got your phone controls, voice command controls. Radio controls are just below the paddle shifters, and then you've got the stock there for the turn signal / windshield wipers, and that's all for the steering wheel. Sorry about the glare here, it's just that time of the day, but notice that you've got the RPMs on the left side, you've got the speed on the right side, and the speedo goes up to 220 miles an hour, which is crazy. I love how it's all in red. And then you got the center screen, which you can scroll through some different menus. Wow, the car's been a whopping 9 miles per hour. That's fast. But yeah, you've got a bunch of different menus that you can scroll through here with the Hellcat Redeye. Nothing too crazy. I mean, pretty much every single vehicle has this nowadays where they've got this information. The performance one's definitely the coolest, where you can see the top speed and then all this kind of stuff right here. But yeah, that's all for the center stack. Here's the center infotainment system. First off, if we pop it in reverse, here's the backup camera that pops up, and then remember, you do have the parking sensors in the rear. The trajectory lines turn with the steering wheel itself. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, response time is really good. And remember, this is paired with the Harman Kardon sound system. You've got heated and ventilated seats, which I'm gonna throw in the ventilated seats. Even though it's 48 degrees outside, I'm running in pretty toasty today. But other than that, again, like I said, response time really good. And then this does come with the performance pages. But before we go over that, I'm pressing the SRT button. You guys will see that later. This shows you all the stuff for the Hellcat Redeye, which there's a lot to go through. You've got your different drive modes here, and then you've got the race options, which notice you have the line lock. This also comes with launch control, and then you also have the chiller, which will cool down the engine. Basically uses the air conditioning to cool down the engine. Then you have the shift lights, and then you've got your race cool down as well. Just like a bunch of different things. I love how you've got like the hood ajar status right there, which is pretty interesting. But if we go back from that and we press the SRT button again, and then we have the performance pages, which show you real-time horsepower and torque. It always takes a while to load up. I don't want you guys to see here in real time like how long this actually takes to load up. Insert elevator music here. Just kidding, YouTube would probably copyright me. But you can see real-time horsepower and torque, and like if we go to the dyno page, and then I just lightly tap the throttle, you can see the real-time horsepower and torque. If we go to engine, it'll show you in the numbers. Wow, I have as much horsepower, or as much torque, I mean, as a more torque than a Prius, or like most cars, just lightly tapping the throttle. That's crazy. Now down here in this area, we've got our volume controls. You got your SRT to pull up that SRT page, launch control, which you can use at 500 miles after the break-in period, and then you've got your dual zone climate controls. And then I think the material here is definitely pretty interesting. Looks retro, kind of reminds me of like the 1950s. Have the shifter there for that 8-speed automatic and the manual shift function. Couple cup holders, and then we've got a center console with 12 volt and some USBs in it, and then notice the leather kind of continues all the way down, and then you've got all the stitching here all across the dash. It's all soft touch now. And then opening up the glove box, it's all lined with felt, and well, that's all for that. Oh, you also get an SRT Hellcat Redeye emblem right there, and it does have a Redeye. Now up here at the top, we've got the sunglass holder. No sunroof, but you can get one as an option. All black headliner, and that's everything for the top. Now that we're done going the interior on this Hellcat Redeye, let's quickly get into the pricing. So in terms of pricing, this particular Hellcat Redeye stickers for about $82,000, which now is a pretty interesting proposition, because for the same exact money, you could get the new Ram TRX. I know, completely different vehicles. This is a muscle car. The Ram TRX is an off-road truck, but I mean, when the money's the same, it's definitely interesting to consider. That all being said, let's take this Hellcat Redeye out and see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off here on the Hellcat Redeye. I notice it says red key in use because we got the red key in use. Anyways, you can see visibility over the hood's pretty good. The dual snorkel really doesn't get in the way. And then there's visibility through both the mirrors. This does come with blind spot monitoring. And then here's throughout the rest of the rear. So from a visibility perspective, it's actually really solid. And that all being said, well, let's set off. Well, we are setting off here in the Hellcat Redeye. Definitely interesting with the Alcantara steering wheel. I mean, obviously that's going to get you better grip when you are doing some fun driving with the car. But again, it definitely feels unique. I'm used to having the leather steering wheels in most of the Hellcats. The first one to really have the Alcantara steering wheel was the Demon, and so it's definitely interesting to see them carry this over into the other Hellcats. But let's actually get up and start going here with the Redeye. So first off, it drives like a really nice luxury car. It's very smooth on road, and right now we're just in the automatic mode. Suspension's nice and compliant. The throttle response with the automatic is not so crazy. If you just lightly tap it, that it's going to jump all over the place and it's going to be uncontrollable. It just gets up and moves like a normal vehicle. It's very, very controllable, even though it has 797 horsepower with two-wheel drive and 275mm tires. Like, it's definitely crazy. I mean, the best way to describe this car is it's the equivalent of strapping a jetpack to an ice skater. Like, that's what happens when you add this much power to a car that doesn't have crazy wide tires. But let's pop it over into the sport mode. So then it's going to put the traction control in sport, and what it will do is it'll keep it in a lower gear so that you can get a little bit better throttle response, but we'll pop it into manual mode so we can get some nice downshifts. Definitely love the sound of the supercharger here. And of course we got unlucky enough that, well, ran into traffic. So we are getting up. This will be our partial acceleration. Listen to that supercharger whine. Sounds absolutely fantastic. The downshifts are great too. Ooh, yeah, good sounding car. Now I can't go full throttle because, well, you guys hopefully understand. It's only like 48 degrees outside. Definitely gives you a kick from the back when you shift. The shifts are very violent in the sport mode. It makes it exciting. It definitely, I mean, just look at the shift speed. It's like violent with how fast it shifts. That is exciting. I love that about it. And remember, in the automatic mode, it's nice and smooth, so you can pretty much get whatever you want. And again, I know that's not full throttle with the car, but I would rather not end up in the side of the curb, because this thing, it gets tail happy. Now it's relatively controllable when the back end steps out, but at the same time, it's still definitely scary, and especially with all this traffic, it's just not the safest thing to do. I definitely would recommend finding yourself a nice open road with not a lot of people around, and then go full throttle. And if you end up in the side of the ditch, just make sure you have insurance, right? Just kidding. It's not that crazy. It's pretty controllable. But let's get into summing things up here with the Hellcat Redeye. So from the exterior, I think it's a really good looking car. I personally prefer the wide body, but I still think that this is a cool looking muscle car, even with the standard body that this particular one has. And then in terms of the interior, I definitely think they've brought up the interior quality quite a bit. The Alcantara steering wheel is nice. All the stitching on the dash is really nice. The seats, they've always been great. It's cool that you've got the memory seats now. That's definitely a nice add-on that they have with the car. Now this is gonna be our little handling portion. Sorry to kind of interrupt myself. But this is gonna be our handling with the car, so you guys can kind of see. Gosh, it sounds so nice. Yeah, that sound never gets old. Just never gets old. Whew, that's in second gear too, guys. Like, it is not starting in the optimal gear, and it just gets up and it moves. Makes my TRX feel slow, to be honest. But again, finishing things with summing up, and I'm gonna pop it back into the automatic mode. It's comfortable, it looks really good. The interior is definitely a lot nicer than the original Hellcat. For a muscle car, this definitely has the nicest interior, if you ask me, especially compared to the Camaro and the Mustang. I mean, this interior quality just feels nicer. I know that they both have like the carbon fiber, but they've got way more plastic than this has, so this definitely has that going for it. And then the performance is, I mean, it's crazy. And like I said, I mean, you guys know I have a 702 horsepower Ram TRX with all-wheel drive that launches like crazy, and this car makes that truck feel sluggish in a way, which is crazy. That truck's not slow. Like, that is a fast truck, but this has so much power and it's a lot lighter. So yeah, I think if you're looking for like a real muscle car, this is the only real muscle car nowadays. The Camaro and the Mustang are kind of more like muscle sports cars, whereas this has stayed kind of true to the muscle car roots. It's like a GT muscle car. So if that's what you're looking for, then that's where the Hellcat Redeye would shine. And I mean, this would be a great vehicle to take on a road trip, hypothetically, take on a road trip and drive all the way at like 140 miles an hour, because you could do that in this car. Now, that is going to sum things up for our video on this 2021 Dodge Challenger Hellcat Redeye. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Dodge Ram Jeep Crest here in Sandy for giving me some time with the Hellcat Redeye. Check out the inventory link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.